Hello Glasgow Rangers Nation, and welcome to the latest episode of the channel as we continue to grow, guys. 3,066 subs at the time of recording. Let's help to keep that going. Please hit that sub, ring that notification bell. Remember, you get free daily Rangers news, live streams during the season, podcasts once I'm back home. And obviously this is not the usual place for recording. This is not the usual style of recording. Usually we have some title introductions and some overlays and slides, but as I'm away currently in Italy on holiday, it is exceptionally hard to do that given the fact that Wi-Fi here is third world. So just recording normal videos on my phone to keep you obviously up to date with the stories. So you got to look at my ugly mug. I do apologise for that, but we are out here in Italy, guys. Here we go. It's the hotel complex where we currently are recording from, but to bringing you the very latest news going on at the greatest club in the world. Well, what news have we got for you? Well, first of all, story today that Glen Kamara has resumed training with the Rangers squad at Auchenhowie. Apparently there were images and pictures taken today showing Glen back in training ahead of the Morton game on Saturday. Now, what does this mean? Does it seem that this Leeds move has become protracted and drawn out again? And is it, as Michael Beale said, not going anywhere at this moment in time? Are those stories that have been in the Yorkshire press about the move being very close not actually true at all? Seems that way, that the move isn't as advanced stage as is been talked about in the media out in down in Yorkshire. Worrying times, really, and it does seem that we are really struggling to move on some of the deadwood from this club. You consider there's him, to some extent, lesser extent, Ravi Matondo, who has done well in the Livingston game, but that's just one game. And like I said in that video that I made about that, one swallow does not a summer make. Add to that, Ben Davis. He has obviously, he was left out of the European squad, even though he is back fit and training. Does this mean he's going to be sold, or again are we going to struggle to get rid of him? It does appear that some of that dead wood, John Lundstrom included in that, is very hard to move on. And like I've said in previous videos, we do want to move these players on. There is a real need to trim the squad. The squad is way too big as we speak, and there are players that need to move on and need to be sold, but it's finding buyers for them, and then it's finding buyers who are willing to pay the price for them, because you don't want to be giving them away for next to nothing. You don't want to be paying, them not paying what is the going rate for that position. You certainly talk about sort of John Lundstrom, you're looking at probably 1.5 million, Ben Davis 2.5 million, Glen Kamara 5.5 million, Ravi Matondo 2 to 3 million. Borna Barisic has been talked of as exiting the club again. You're probably looking at 3 to 4 million because the guy's an international, but it's getting the money for him, and that's the worrying thing at the moment. It does appear that we are unable to bring those sort of moves over the line. Now, whilst we can obviously sign players, it seems, quite easily, and you've got to praise the work that's been done by Michael Beale and James Bisgrove and John Bennett over this summer. It does appear very worrying, doesn't it, that we haven't been able to move on some of those that dead wood. And I think the fact that Glen is back and training at Auchenhowie kind of sends a bit of a message. Is it just to get him fit, to make him more a saleable asset? That could be it, but it does seem rather weird to me that he is back after all that talk of him going to Leeds, which now appears to obviously not be the case. As the talk had been that they wanted to get that move through the door before the Leeds game this weekend, which obviously given tomorrow is Saturday, sorry, this morning is Saturday. I was recording a video last night, obviously. He hasn't gone. He's still with Rangers. He's obviously unlikely to feature. I think Michael doesn't want to use him. Michael has talked about the fact that he's ready to move on, that he wants to move him on. But it's just finding a buyer, isn't it? And trying to find someone who's going to take him off our hands for the right price. There has been obviously talk of people like Besiktas, Galatasaray interested, Sheffield United, Southampton. But none of those have come to fruition. What is it that's holding him back from moving? I don't think it's any false sense of loyalty to Rangers. I don't think he wants to stay here. That's certainly not the case. But what is going on with Glen Kamara is a very interesting question indeed. Interesting interview that I read earlier today. Wim Kieft, who is a former Dutch player, was talking to former Rangers manager Dick Advocaat ahead of the PSV Eindhoven game. Now it appears that Dick, our old manager, still follows the club, still very interested in what is going on at Rangers. And let's face it, he did a fantastic job here, and we all know that whenever you manage Rangers or play for Rangers, it does get under your skin, and it's kind of once a Ger, always a Ger, isn't it? But Dick Advocaat says he feels that Rangers have sold all their best, well, I don't think it's sold, but kind of let all their best players leave, and he feels that PSV Eindhoven will find it much easier this year to beat Rangers. He certainly doesn't rate the new signings, Dessers and Lammers. who have obviously experience in the Dutch Eredivisie, and he's seen play in the Eredivisie. He said he doesn't rate them as highly as the players that have left the club, like Morelos and Kent, for example, in Arfield. It was an interesting part of the interview that he said, and he felt that PSV Eindhoven had the best opportunity to beat Rangers and to get revenge for last year. I think, you've got to consider that. Look, I respect Dick Advocaat, I respect, all he did at Rangers, and I respect his opinion as a football manager, but at the end of the day, I suppose, talking to Dutch media, thinking he is going to be more favourable perhaps to PSV. Add to that, I think, everyone's talking us down. Everyone thinks that Rangers are going out. Yes, we weren't the most convincing we've ever been against Servette. Of course we weren't. And obviously the talk is that PSV will find the game quite easy. But look, as we know, in football, anybody can beat anybody on a given day. And if Rangers play to their potential and play to their full, the full ability, and PSV play to their full ability, who knows what the outcome will be when we face them in the first leg at Ibrox. That first leg at Ibrox, they will be without a striker who they signed from Club Brugge, Noah Lang, for 15 million. He is injured, and the manager of PSV, whose name is Peter Bose, I think his name is, or William Bose, Peter I think it is, has said that he will not risk Lang in this first leg at Ibrox, so he will not be playing. Add to that the fact as well that they have not put Malik Tillman into their European squad. It does seem there are some high-profile absentees from this PSV side. However, they still will be a very hard team to play and a very tough nut to crack. There is a lot of rumours going round at the moment, isn't there, that the pressure could build on Michael Beale if Rangers fail to advance into the Champions League, and certainly if we then will go on and lose the first Old Firm game. Let's deal with the European issue first of all. Now, I know a lot of it is putting 2 and 2 together and getting 6, but James Bisgrove has spoken about the fact that the board have fully backed Michael Beale and fully backed Michael Beale's plan. So there really is no excuse for Michael Beale there. He can't talk of the fact that he hasn't got the players he wants, even though I think a lot of us do feel that the defence is nowhere near ready to really mount a serious challenge in the Champions League this season. I think for me, take out obviously John Souttar, but the rest of them need a serious overhaul. 117 years old off back four. Tav, yes he scores, yes he gets penalties and free kicks, but his defending is awful. Connor is prone to the odd brain fart, and Borna Barisic, as we know, has played well the last couple of games, but this is sort of a break from how he has been playing in recent times. So it will be tough. And now let's just take this for a minute. Now, first of all, James Bisgrove said that. Now, James Bisgrove's also spoken about the importance of Rangers getting back into the Champions League group stages, about the importance of Rangers playing in Europe's top competition. That was very clear in what he said in his interview before the season began, the fact that he wants Rangers to be in the Champions League. Now, given the fact that he said that Michael Beale has been fully backed, given the fact that the talk at the club this summer, and certainly the pre-season friendlies, were all about gearing this club up to play in the Champions League, and then James Bisgrove's comments, does that mean that that if Rangers were to fail to qualify, if PSV were to beat Rangers, they weren't to advance to the Champions League group stages, and then maybe were to lose to Celtic, that Michael Beale's job could be well on the line? It certainly seems to be an opinion of a lot of pundits that Beale could well be given his marching orders after such a short time. Given the fact that as well, Bisgrove and Bennett weren't the chairman and chief executive when Beale was appointed too. Is that another guide to the fact they could want him out if these next results don't go our way? It's going to be an interesting one. Certainly, I think hopefully we won't be asking that question after these next 2 legs against PSV and the first Old Firm game. Turning to that first Old Firm game, I think it's rubbish to say that Old Firm games don't matter. Every Old Firm game matters, whether it's a cup at stake, 3 league points, a title, whatever it is at stake, whether it's a friendly game. Every Old Firm game matters. There's no such thing as an Old Firm game that doesn't matter. I know they tried to insist at the end of last season that the league was done and dusted, and it didn't matter, that Old Firm game. And look, to some extent there was nothing. Yes, other than the 3 points, there wasn't anything riding on it. Now, the fact that Michael Beale has lost to Celtic in the cup final, he's lost to them in a semi-final, he has lost them at Parkhead when the league was still on the line, it is going to put him under a lot of pressure to really, in the eyes of a lot of pundits and the eyes of some fans as well, win a game when there is something on the line. Now, if we were to lose to Celtic now, you could face a situation where you fall 6 points behind. And yes, I know there are still 3 Old Firm games to come, so that could be raked back in. But realistically, Celtic, I don't think are going to lose a lot of points because the rest of the league is so weak. So Michael Beale is under a lot of pressure to deliver in this next upcoming few ties against PSV and in the Old Firm game. I think, if we sit on September the 4th, having been knocked out of Europe and lost to Celtic, some big questions will be asked of Michael Beale. Final story to talk about is Tom Lawrence. Now, it appears that Tom Lawrence is getting much closer to a first team return. There's been a lot of, strangeness going on around that Tom Lawrence thing. We talked in pre-season that he was back and he was able to play. And then he kind of disappeared off again, didn't he? And hasn't even been mentioned, hasn't been in any of the European squads. And I know a lot of people are very hopeful of the return of Tom, given how talented he is. But he seems to be getting closer now to a return. Now, whether he can force his way back into the team, who knows? Given the talent that we have on our disposal that play in his position. The likes of Yanis Hadji, Todd Cantwell, Kieran Dowell, Sam Lammers, to name but a few. So it's going to be hard for Tom to push his way back into the team. But Tom is a fine footballer. It's certainly someone I would like to see given an opportunity to reclaim a place in the team once he is fit. But it doesn't appear that he will be fit for the Glen game this weekend, and it could be another couple of weeks before he is actually back playing first team football. It does seem that Rangers are being very careful with getting him ready to go and play for the club. I think that's obviously, a lot of people have talked about why has he been absent. Well, it appears that is the reason he's been absent, and the club are just being cautious with his return and not rushing him back. Certainly the influence of Dr. Mark Waller is being felt at the club. Well, guys, thanks for watching this slightly stranger video, this not normal video from Glasgow Rangers Nation. I've been your host, Owen. As always, please hit that sub, ring that notification bell. And as always, I need you to do 2 things for me. Number 1, always remember to smash that like. And number 2, remember always, we are the people.